Hello, dear friends. I just had a thought. Now, I'm kind of curious, and I've always been curious, and I know a lot about history. I'm not as much as, bona fide historian, but um, I know the gist of things. And my grandfather was a paleontologist, an artist, and um, an engineer, and he was a real polymath. And he would tell me about the dinosaurs and how long ago it was when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And he sparked intellectual curiosity in me. So I've always been curious and I like to keep track of things. And all my life I've heard people, talk about you have to believe in something to fill the hole. There's like a hole inside that you got to fill with something. You got to believe in something, and most people fill it with religion, or they call it spiritualism now, the less religious. But whatever you do, because I fell for the whole bullshit story, and I was an evangelical back in the '90s, early '90s, and yeah. Well, now I'm an atheist, so my learning has increased quite a bit since then. Um, so uh, the point is, this thing that whatever you do, you're really never satisfied if you stop and are honest to yourself about it and think about it. Whatever you do, whether it's spiritualism, whether it's tarot cards, or Jesus, or whatever that you might cling to kind of fill the void that is in all of us. And I think I know what that void is, and I think I know what we really want. And it seems to me because we like to say that we are in nature, not of it. We always, we have this mindset that we're in nature, right? Nature's all around us, and we're kind of in it, and we have to traverse it to one building or another. Sometimes enjoy it leisurely in weekends out in a hike. But the fact is that we are of nature. We all evolved from the same sources a billion years ago, roughly. And the evidence, there's mountains of evidence, and I don't want any of the crazy comments from the, the pseudo thinkers or whatever, pseudo intellectuals. Um, so, uh, what I think is, I've been kind of environmentalist since I lived in Arizona. When I went out there and was started hiking in the desert and seeing how beautiful it really is and how full of life it is. You think a desert, well, it's not sand dunes like Sahara. There's life everywhere. There's javelinas and scorpions, and we made a campsite, and there was we lifted a rock. We wanted to level the ground to put our tent. And I lifted a rock, and there was a bunch of scorpions under it. And we heard a javelina that night while we were sleeping, sniffling around outside the tent. Yeah, we were in the midst of it. But then that is when I realized that nature is the only thing that's real. And of course, then I started studying anthropology and evolutionary biology and genetics, of course. And I discovered the fact that our DNA, our genetic code that makes us who we are, uh, physically, anyways, psychologically, is a blend of memories and genes. Wow, see, I go off on the side and I forget and I don't have a script because this is unscripted. This is just me and you, baby. Um, so somebody remind me. Oh wait, that's not gonna work. Um, so yeah, we this whole our DNA is 98% the same as chimpanzees. They are our closest cousins, and it may surprise you to know that they have a prefrontal cortex, and they laugh. They play jokes on the youngsters, and they form SWAT teams when they go hunting. Each chimpanzee has an assigned duty in the chase of the prey, and it's really remarkable. And so we all like to say, oh, everybody's different. We're not really different. I mean, if we're 98% the same as chimpanzees, how small can the differences be between us? The differences are merely superficial: hair color, the thinking, personality, and those are formed by our circumstances when we're growing up. They used to be homogenous, for millions of years. We were tribes, and we were kind of the family consisted of about 20 to 30 people. That's the real traditional family, folks. 20 to 30 people, some coming and going. And then there, of course, that was the real who's your daddy time back then, because, you know, who could say? And they were matriarchal and so, somewhat democratic, like the Native Americans, and the evidence for the other indigenous peoples too. Um, so, what I think that hole is, this is what it comes down to. What I think that hole is that we try to fill with religion or whatever obsession we have, what we take on with spiritualism or New Ageism or whatever the hell. None of it's going to work. And if you have been through this and you realize that you try this, I tried the New Ageism way back in the late '90s, and then I was into that. But I found out these guys, they're just hucksters writing these books and shit. Anyways, Deepak Chopra, yeah, he ain't legit. He seems like he is, but he's got a name and a personality, and he can write well and sell books. So, but no, that is you'll never satisfied, never satisfied. That's it. You're never satisfied. And that thing that was calling us, and that hole, that void, it's nature. And I do believe that what that is we all really deep down inside, we all want to go back to nature. And simple, hunter-gatherers, we have this idea of the Stone Age as like just awful and dirty and filthy. Well, it might have been to a degree, but the Native Americans are the perfect example of a Neolithic people's society. Neolithic is New Stone Age. Lithic referencing stone. So they were, Benjamin Franklin would live with the Indians for a time. He'd go visit them and stay with them for a little while. And he came back and wrote about it, and he really enjoyed them. He really appreciated them and respected them as a people. And in fact, some parts of the Constitution were taken from the, and I believe it was the Iroquois tribe, some northeastern tribe, obviously, their bylaws. So matriarchal, largely democratic, and, food was everywhere. Think about this for a second. Food was everywhere, and it was free. It was everywhere, and it was free. You didn't have to, you have to pay somebody for it. Oh, I got some change, and you can't eat. And then if you're hungry and starving, you take a loaf of bread, and then you go to jail. Well, at least you get to eat in jail, but it ruins your fucking home life a bit. Sorry about that. I don't know how to bleep these things out yet. Somebody maybe tell me how. So yeah, that's it. It's nature. We want to go back to nature. That's it. That's what it is. That's the hole that we try to fill with all these bullshit stories and constructs. Nature. We want to go back there, and we can't. We're trapped in the hell of our own making with this civilization, endless rat race. Inmate Trump. I just wanted to say that I love the Black Boot. This to you, Black Boot. Go watch Black Boot. He's a great dude. That's those of you who have seen him get that reference. All right, thanks for watching and indulging me for this 8 minutes. I guess this isn't going to be a short. Thank you. Bye bye.